Yeah, so in this video we are going to talk about how to build with Lovable production ready apps that you can take to market, apps that work, apps that you can sell as a vibe coder or a builder or even an AI automation expert. I've built more than 10 apps and I've even scaled some, I've sold some, and I've built apps for clients and made thousands of dollars. So this is a skill that in the 21st century, or at least in current day and age, is very useful because you have unlimited opportunities to build whatever you want. However, building costs money. There are tips and tricks that you can use. There are things that you can know to build your apps crazy good from the start. And honestly, instead of having to rip your hair from frustration when the AI is doing mistakes over and over again, you have to ensure that doesn't happen from the beginning. So in this video, we're going to talk about how to build production-ready AI apps, Lovable apps mainly, and the things you need to know to do that. So let's jump straight into it. We have the first document here. That is the first tips that I want to go through for you. And the first thing that we want to mention is the prompt. The first prompt, it's the most important thing that you have and that you can sort of deal with in your Lovable journey. The first prompt is crucial because it is the one which will set the stage for the entire app as you go along and as you build. It should, in reality, outline your long-term plan. Why? Because it is better that the AI will understand where you want to take this app so that he can build it good from the start. And this sort of why information will ensure that edge cases, data flows, and even user journeys will be established from the beginning. Very important. Think of it as like writing specifications. What's the purpose? Who uses it? What is the success criteria and beyond? So this is what you need to keep in mind. I've structured for you a four sort of framework for what you need to do in your prompt. You need to tell him what you want. This can be literally one sentence or 5 sentences. Keep it clean. No need to go into too much detail. Lovable is usually smarter than you when it comes to building. So just tell him what you want in plain terms. Give him the context, why you want it. Context really helps because Lovable can actually suggest things and do things and improve things once he understands what it actually is that you want. And also the long-term context, that's what you want the app to be in the final stage. And then minor UI ideas, because you want to be guiding it as to what you're having in your head, what's in your mind. And so this is the thing you need to do in the beginning. And that's how I structure my prompts. And here is an example of a prompt that is following that criteria or structure. Let's go through it. 1, what I want. I want you to build the first version of a clean, simple web app that helps users craft perfect prompts for AI tools. The app should guide users step by step, let them select a goal, add context, refine details, and generate a polished final prompt they can copy or save. Keep it lightweight, clear, and production ready. Clean, good, few sentences totally makes the AI understand what you want. No conflicting sentences there. Next, context. The app exists because most people write chaotic prompts that confuse AI. Confusion, very important. This tool fixes that by structuring the user's thinking. Goal, context, constraints, examples, final prompt. The app should feel like a friendly co-pilot that shapes their messy ideas into a clear, powerful prompt. This is just an example of an app. Honestly, this could even work. You can take this idea and it might actually be very good. Next, long-term direction. Even though this is a V1, assume we'll later add project folders, prompt history, templates, persona, libraries, team collaboration, blah, blah, blah. So design the underlying structure so it's easy to expand, right? And now we're giving it the context in the future. Now he's going to make the app so that later it won't bug, later it won't mess up, later the data will stay consistent. And data integrity is all about super important with Lovable apps, because once you change things, you actually can change data and components which users are currently relying on, right? When you change during the development. Last but not least, minor UI ideas. I want a minimal and modern UI. Think Notion, Linear Versal. You can give it examples. This is very, very good. A sidebar for template categories, a main panel for the prompt builder, and a clean preview area showing the final prompt. Keep colors soft and neutral, prioritize clarity, spacing, blah, 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 blah. This is a banger prompt. It would create such a good product from the beginning. I already know how that will work. But this is an example for you to take your app ideas with the right framework in mind. Moving on to the next step here in our mini course. By the way, you have a full course in the school community where we are teaching you how much greater detail to build lovable apps. Current school membership costs $9 and we are aiming to increase that gradually until $199. So now it's the cheapest you can get it. But let's continue. You need to structure the prompts in an order and not confuse AI. We touched it a bit on that, and now let's even dive deeper into it. When you are doing different things, different prompts, you have different things in mind, you need to, ensure you explain it good, because I have also burned a lot of credits in trying to fix things which the AI did, which was a mistake on me not explaining clearly what I want or him just not understanding. So for example, let's see here. There are things to do for the good prompt structure. A good prompt structure avoids overwhelming the model and reduces hallucinations by removing inconsistent behavior. You shouldn't have a lot of things that you say. You shouldn't have a prompt which asks it to do 4 things at the same time. You need to have one thing. Mainly, if it's a small thing, several things can be done. Here's an example of a messy prompt. Add a history thing so users can see their old prompts. Make it look nice and put it somewhere on the page. It should autosave. And I want it to be easy to use. Just build it however you think. This is like a very prompt that is very generic. You're telling the AI to do without giving it a lot of sort of context, and he can end up not understanding you. He can end up putting it in the footer. You're not telling him exactly what you need, and you're not giving him the context. So this is actually very important, because as you're going to be sending maybe thousands of messages at some point, you are losing out on money. Here is a structured prompt for you. Add a simple prompt history feature to the app, somewhere and then you give it a location. Create a small data structure for it to store each generated prompt. ID, content, timestamp. Now you tell it. You have some technical background knowledge. You tell it how technically it's going to work. For example, as a technical person, you might already know that the timestamp will ensure that now you can show the prompts in the right order, while the AI might not necessarily think about that from the get-go. Whenever the user generates a final prompt, store it in the history list. Now you tell it that there is a history list. Here we didn't even tell it that, right? Except like a history thing. Add a sidebar that loads and displays the history items, most recent at the top, most recent by the timestamp. Each item should show a short preview and the timestamp. When the user clicks an item, show the full prompt. Keep the UI minimal. Make sure the logic is modular so we can add X, Y, Z later. This is a good prompt. It could even be more detailed, but this is something that will work. This will reduce the errors that you are facing when you are using Lovable and other AI vibe coding tools. 10 of 10 tips here, right? So let's go to the next one. UI. With UI, the most important thing is show, don't tell. You can describe however you want the app to be, and it might work, but showing the AI with images in addition to telling it is what's going to make your app 10 times better, because actually the AI is trained on working with different frameworks and UI elements. But when you show it what you want, he has the capability to see beyond his strict limited vision. And that's exactly why we are doing that for all our apps, showing it, images, screenshots of UIs that we like. And so in this example, what you will be doing is that you will be going to Pinterest, which is the best place to find UI work, UI design, and you will be taking a few screenshots and showing this. And you can do that in the beginning. You can do that in the first prompt as well. Show what you want, This is a simple sort of a module. Very, simple, not necessarily a lot to teach you here, not a lot to say, but a principle that's super important. Show what you want as opposed to just tell it. So that's that. And let's go to the second last one here. Edge functions. Lovable apps are great, but they are really nothing without edge functions, because edge functions is what enables the real adaptive programmability, where you can now add features, functions, logics, algorithms, and all of those things which actually requires processing data. For example, you made yourself an app. Let's take our prompt app as an example. We made the prompt app. Now, every time the actual generation happens based on information we put in the UI, there is going to be an edge function in the background that will generate a prompt. Now, depending on whether or not it would be using Lovable directly or something like that, there might not necessarily be needing an edge function because it's a direct API call. But even understanding these technical differences are super important for you, because you are leading the development of an app. You are not letting Lovable do the whole thing. No, you should, to make the best app, you have a 100-man team, developer team, basically Lovable, and you leading it and you're telling it what to do, right? So you need to understand these things to actually build the best products. And the edge functions is what usually enables you to do a lot of logic. For example, with the edge function, with our prompt app, you could say, hey, I want to have 10 LLMs to be creating a prompt automatically. Then I want to summarize these prompts to make a master prompt. That is what an edge function would handle. Edge function handle these sort of complex logics that you can do to your apps, so that you can take them from being just like a piece of text and design to actually be full components. So learn your edge functions. In our school community, we teach you everything about that. You will learn how to use them, what they are, how to build with them, and Supabase and beyond. Last but not least, number 5 here, you can create production ready apps from the beginning. Don't treat Lovable as simply like a demo. Oh, I'm going to just build some like 5-user app. No, you should absolutely be careful with Lovable apps. It's not something that I would probably rely on for 1 million users. However, Lovable apps are definitely good enough to be taking you to that stage where you can get 100 or 1,000 or even more users. And once you have 1,000 users, ideally paid, once you have some revenue, you will start investing into the next steps for your Lovable app, which is audits, security components, making sure things are persisting, data storage, and beyond, because you want to be keeping this data. You want this data to be secure, to not crash. You want maybe different versions of your app, so that if something happens, you have other versions that you can bring back and beyond. So if you treat this as something like a real production ready app from the beginning, you can actually, there are a few things you need to keep in mind. And you need to add authentication from the beginning, because once you build the app with all of the million features and then you add authentication later, you are really making it complex for the AI. If you add authentication in the beginning, now all of the components it adds will be based on authentication. And then even more, if you add Stripe, then you can now have components that you add based on different subscription sort of tiers and levels. And now from the beginning, you are programming your app to be built the right way. So add that early on and test it as much as you can, 100 times, 1,000 times, because there is always going to be something that you didn't see with Lovable. With your app, you have to test it so much that you are 100% sure that this works. Don't stop after it works once. Try in a different browser, try in a different location. Every different factor will matter, because once you actually are going live, your whole launch will rely on this. Different scenario testings, super important. This is something you can do on your own, but in reality, you need a little team behind to actually help you, because the person focusing on development is not actually the one who can focus on all the testing as well. And this is something that is a very big tip. Have some people around you to actually be testing. In our school community, I would love to have this as a place where people can test each other's apps. That would be so amazing. So join, let's build the best community there. And then scale step by step. Start with 1 user, 5 users, 20 users. Then see what happens. How is the app reacting? 100 users. What's happening now? Did my API key go low? How often does it go low? The credits. All of these things you need to keep in mind so that you can grow correctly. And if you follow these steps and you have a good idea and you have a problem that you solve and a solution, boom, you are going to make a SaaS that might actually, take you to financial independence. And last but not least, Again, once you have done all of these things, your app is live, you have 100 users or 1,000 users. Don't stop there. Now you will try to audit your app, and you need to build it in the way where you can still use Lovable, but you can have a developer come in and work together with Lovable and start, securing things and doing even more things with you, and then you take it to the super production grade level. And this is enterprise level sort of use case of Lovable. This is not like something like just a vibe code who's just like vibe coding and is chilling. This is strategic, this is smart, this is intelligent. This is how you can build apps for your company, for others, and for your own entrepreneurial journey. I hope you really liked this video. I have many videos on YouTube on different topics. If you like this topic specifically around Lovable and building web apps, let me know in the comments below. Again, we have much more content in school. Would love to see you there. But if not, YouTube is the place to be. I will see you in the next video. Cheers.